Okay, welcome back to the bench. Today we're going to continue to work on the SMT monster truck, which we're making into a mega truck. Today we're going to work on the links, and yeah, we'll get the links done and hooked up to the axles. So this is step 9, and we're going to need, it looks like bag B, this tree here, and this tree here, and this tree here. All right. So we're going to start with a steering link. So we're starting with this piece right here. And we need bag B of screws. And hardware, screws, bolts, nuts. And we need an AXA-438 AXA-438. There's only one of those. And we need one of these little bushings. We're going to actually need more than one. We're going to need them all sooner or later. But right now we need 4 of them. You'll have to pardon my sniffles. I got a cold. It looks like Louisiana. Good old Louisiana weather. Today it was 30 degrees this morning. Kind of crazy. 3 days ago it was 75. So we put the little bushings in, the holes at the end of the and we'll put this steering arm onto the cross arms, whatever you call it. No caffeine this morning. Don't drink coffee, but soda, yep. So the screw going into the little bushing, of course the bushing turns. So getting the screw into the bushing is kind of difficult. It's a tight fit. So we got to hold the bushing from turning while we turn the screw in. Yeah, well, that's interesting. And then this goes into up with the steering arm. And of course it's only going to go so tight, and that is definitely loose. Won't have any problems with that not moving. Alright, now this goes on to the front axle, of course, and the steering knuckles. It says note direction, do not over tighten. So the axle is held this way, and the knuckle goes on this way. Not the knuckle, but the steering arm. Instructions say M11. Excuse me, M3 18 millimeter screw, and a nut that has a nylon bushing inside of it to stay tight at a later date. This tool that they sent you for the tires and stuff has a size for these nuts, so you don't have to try to booger them up with some kind of wrench, pair of pliers. This is much easier than what we did yesterday, putting these axles together. That's for sure. Wrong size screw. I definitely like the way Axial builds stuff. This is my second kit from Axial. I built the SCX-10-2 when it first came out, and that was my first Axial kit. I have built kits by now I'm not going to be able to think of the name, Associated, before. I remember the first time I ever built one, man, it felt like it took me forever, not knowing what I was doing at all. I'm not saying I know what I'm doing now, but it seems to be easier after you've done one. But this kit, pretty straightforward. All right, so now we have the steering arms and the panhard bar, or the steering bar, on the front axle. Not a lot of steering here. Okay, next, the links. We have left links, right links. So let's see if it tells you on here which one's left and which one is right. And really, it probably doesn't matter because they're probably all pretty much the same. Get yourself a good set of side cutters. This is some pretty thick plastic. All right. So we take one of the the links that are look like they're some kind of I don't know what the heck you call it. I'm drawing a blank. C-channel. Okay, they're all together as a set of links, and then the ones that are more like regular 2x4 looking or boxed in channels are the other set of links. And then the fun is putting all of these little bushings inside the ends of the links. They can go in hard, they can go in easy. They seem to be pretty tight on this. And the other thing is too, make sure you check out the drawing. Since these links have angled bushing holes, okay, there's a certain way they go into that hole. Okay, let's see how hard these are to go in. Very difficult. So you can set it down on the bench and pop them in like that, or you can use a pair of pliers. Problem with using a pair of pliers to get them in, if you slip, you bugger them up, you're not going to be happy. So if you just take them, press down on the bench like this, and then just press them in, they go in pretty good. I'm going to shut the camera off and pop all these bushings out. Okay, I got all the little bushings popped off the tree, the parts tree. Again, if you want to put these in, the easiest way to put these in is just press them down, and they're in. All right, that's set of arms, links. Now the other set of links, and I need to have a whole bunch more bushings, and I've only got 3, so there's another tree of bushings somewhere. Okay, I found those bushings. They're in plastic number 2 bag, which they never even tell you you're going to need yet. So if you're looking for the other bushing tree, mine is in plastic bag number 2, not number 1 where everything else was. Don't know why, but that's where they were. And again, same deal, pushing all these bushings into the holes in the end of the axle links. Oh my goodness. Again, look at the picture, make sure that you got your link oriented the correct way, and push the bushings in the correct way. They are different for which way they're facing. Now we got to put a bushing in the center of these. With a screw and a nut holding them in. Okay, so again, orient all of these to the picture, and this ought to be interesting. Getting these bushings inside these slots and then putting a screw through there. As you can see, inside this slot, you've got to slide this bushing and then put a screw in through the holes. What fun! Good needle nose pair of pliers and pair of needle nose pliers to work here. And of course, I don't see mine. Okay, so the needle nose pliers, that's what works. Push them down and hold them in there, slide them in there, get the holes lined up, slide the screw through, and then get your trusty little wrench. If you can find your trusty little wrench. And tighten them up. These look more like the cosmetic than anything else. I'm sure something snaps in there. Torsion bars, probably. I guess we'll see in the future. Doesn't say anything about how tight to make these, so I'm not going to over tighten them right now. I'm going to make sure they move a little bit. Okay guys, make sure on the side of the C-channel type links, there are two different holes. There are two different places that you can put the bushing. I'm following the instructions, orienting the link, putting the bushing in the correct hole in the C-channel, and lining them up in that way. Now I don't know if this means they're adjustable and you can move them to the other hole, but for the purpose of this I'm following the drawing on which hole, because there are two different places that you can actually put these bushings, and I'm putting them as the drawings shows. Hopefully the drawing's right. So far, Axial's been pretty good with their drawings. And again, I want to apologize if you hear me sniffling. This weather down here is kicking my butt. And I'm not even from Louisiana originally. I'm from Michigan. But this is where I retired from the military and where I met my wife. And she's a doctor here, so this is where I'm at. Actually, she's from Pennsylvania, born in New York. She was in the military, Air Force, and now she's a doctor for the government. Getting ready to retire in a couple of months. I'm already retired. I'm a retired military, a retired teacher. Getting ready to go on the road. Our channel is RVing and RCing. We love to do both. And we just bought a Jeep JK, 2014 Jeep JK, to do some off-roading. Actually, my wife bought it. I have a F-250. And we're decking it out to do some off-roading. Ought to be interesting. Okay. As a matter of fact, bought a little Axial SMT-10 same color. That's a Jeep JL, but we have a Jeep JK. Alright, so hooking the links up to the axles. First we will do the front axle, since we've already started on that one. Orient the axle toward like the picture. And the first thing we do is put some C-channels on the brackets, on these brackets here. Again, there's different holes there, so be careful where you're putting it. You know, you got to hook up shocks and all that good stuff to these brackets. And according to this, the brackets go on the bottom hole. And orient them. There's little cross members in here, little cross strengthening things inside the C-channel. They go toward the center of the truck. And it looks like we use the same screws we used before, this time no nuts. These are going to be self-tapping here all the way through, so you're going to have a lot of turning to do. Now, if you trust yourself with electric screwdriver, this would be a good place to do it, because these screws are going to be threaded on both the two different holes. Line them up, and away you go. Again, I'm not big. Okay, I'm not sure where my battery died, but it did. So we'll see when we get ready to edit. But anyway, we're putting these links on the front axle. And again, make sure you line them up according to the picture, orient them so that they, when you get all done, it looks pretty. Everything's oriented in the correct direction. And again, these screws holes are going to have to be threaded. So you want to get this screw started straight, because it's going to thread into the first hole, then it's going to go through the C channel or the link, and then it's going to go through the hole in the bushing, and then it's going to go into the other hole, and it's going to self-tap into that hole. And you want to get these bushings lined up correctly, because you can squish these bushings if you don't have it in the hole. Now, if you don't have it in the hole and you start screwing it through there, the bushing will just bunch up, because you're threading through both holes, and it just keeps on pushing, and it'll push the bushing and mess up the bushing. It looks like Axial give you extra bushings in case you mess one up. Another reason why you want to do this by hand, you get the screwdriver going in there, you get that thing off center, and then you've just messed up a bracket or a bushing, hopefully just a bushing, but you may have messed up a bracket. Okay, that the link goes into. Next, the top links, which are the box type links, and these are, again, the ends are angled, so make sure you get the angle in the correct direction. As you can see, the angle, this one angles out, and then make sure you get the angle upward to trying to get as much distance as you can between whatever and whatever. Then they give you these long screws. Now these should not be, and they are not, self-tapping. These will just slide through and you put a nut on them. Just got to get everything lined up. Oh, that went pretty quick, pretty good. And then you got one of the nylon inserted, or nuts with a nylon insert. The nylon insert there becomes tapped when you put the screw or turn the screw into the nut, and it keeps it from coming off. It's kind of like using Loctite on metal to metal. This nylon works really good for plastic or for these nuts. And of course, again, the wrench will fit. These are a larger size M screw, M. Three. All right, front links are on. Now we do the rear links on the rear axle. Pretty much the same thing. You got the C channel to go in the brackets on the bottom. Again, orient them to the way that they are oriented in the picture, and again, remember these are self-tapping. You want to get them straight when you start. And to get them straight, just take your time. No hurry. You hurry and you mess up something, you'll be cussing yourself. And then you got to take it apart and redo it. So your hurrying didn't do you any good. Because now you're taking even more time than if you took your time to start with. Double checking, make sure I got everything oriented in the correct direction. And all is good. Okay, I got that bushing off center and it started to squish it. So we don't want squished bushings. You got to get those lined up so that the screw goes in the hole nice and smooth. All right. We got the lower ones in, we'll put the upper ones in. This is where you wish that God would have put a hand right in the middle of your chest, an arm right in the middle of your chest. And then it could hold it, and then you can work on it. So if humans would have had 3 arms, we'd have been much better off. But we don't. And that way you can do some of the things that seem to be impossible by yourself. But it would be nice to have a third arm coming right out the middle of your chest. It can hold things while you're doing things with your other two hands. You wouldn't need a vise. My 65-year-old arthritic hands with some of these small pieces are difficult to work with, but still love the hobby. Hopefully I can keep on doing this later in years. I've always found a way to do it no matter what. And again, it's really nice that this wrench lays right on that axle perfectly to hold that nut. No having to use a flipping pair of pliers, because you can booger up a nut in a hurry with a pair of pliers. All right, links on the back, links on the front, and this is where we're going to stop today. Got other things I got to do, but I'll get this video up today, and tomorrow, or the next time we get to sit at the bench, hopefully tomorrow, looks like we're going to work on the servo saver, which is spring loaded. It's got torsion springs. Interesting. Mount the servo, and then build the shocks and mount the shocks. And then after that will be the transmission. So tomorrow we'll be doing a servo saver, and shocks. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching the channel. If you like, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.